Yes, yes, you are tuned into the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. Now at 50,000 watts, we are Mississippi's talk radio blowtorch, moving and grooving. And today is November 4th, 2025. It's a Tuesday. You know what that means? It's a special election Tuesday. Hope everybody out there, if you're in the 26th senatorial district in Mississippi, check out my man Coleman Boyd. He's a great guy, and I'm not in his district, but I'm giving him the rub anyways. Giving him the shout out, guys. If you're not sure if you're supposed to vote today, and you haven't done that due diligence yet, you can always go Google Mississippi My Election Day. You can go there. You just type in your zip code, and it'll start to type in your address, and it'll auto populate. It'll tell you what Senate district you're in, what state representative district you're in, who your county supervisor is, who your school board member is, who your election commissioner is. And if you have an election today, it'll let you know. You know, we live in the greatest country in America, and how people don't vote, it's beyond me. We are streaming on Rumble. We are streaming on X. We are streaming on YouTube, and we are streaming at WYAB.com. So if you can't tune into the 50,000 watt blowtorch that is WYAB 103.9, you can always catch us online. We appreciate that. We appreciate Barry in Georgia who tunes in from time to time, and our listeners from Nevada to Wisconsin. It's absolutely humbling to have that. The mission at the Andrew Gosser Show, it's standard. It's to equip the saints. Who are the saints? Y'all are the saints. Today is a jam-packed show. I'm gonna just be planting seeds all day today. I can see it already. I'm planting it. Somebody else is watering it. God's gonna give the increase to it. Election day, it's not just here in Mississippi, but all around the United States. And there is just so much going on. And you're going to hear by what I talk about today and what I do not talk about today will kind of let you know where I stand ideologically on certain issues. And it'll also let you know that there is just a time where you have to move on. And everybody can sit here and whine, moan, and complain about how they've been done wrong, how they didn't get what they wanted, and they just go on and being miserable to be miserable. Pitiful. I think I want to start off with election day. Definitely around the state, I believe there's 2 Senate races and a couple state rep districts. Nothing in my neck of the woods. So to be totally candid with you all, I didn't have a vote. I didn't necessarily do that. I did support one individual, but other than that, I didn't really get involved with the other races. Didn't feel compelled to do that. And that ding you hear, honestly, I did not think this was going to be the lead story, but this is the lead story. I am getting a new laptop, ladies and gentlemen. This laptop that I've been running the show from, it's an Asus gaming PC from 2011. And the only things it's ever had on here was Adobe, the Adobe Suite, Microsoft Office, and that's it. And it's lasted me a long time. I've briefed senators on this. I've briefed congressmen on this. I've briefed NASA officials on this, individual state reps, a governor on it. And it is just acting up more and more and more. And with me really starting to settle in with y'all on this, in this audience, and on this platform, I need to take a step up. So I couldn't even tell you, what type of processor this has or anything like that, but it's going away. The new computer gets here, I believe, tomorrow or Thursday. So it'll take me a day to get it all booted up. But then I know every once in a while a weird kading comes in or whatever, and it's annoying. So get something new. Election day. There are some crazy elections going on outside of Mississippi. And I can just tell you, if you are listening to some of these Republicans, I mean, just listen to what this is like 2 minutes and 23 seconds of pure fire. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, you are going to be so excited to hear this. You're going to be like, they're actually saying this. And then there's some spiritual humor at the end, which we'll play too.
A month ago, we got a nation's report card.
This is in New
Two-thirds of our
Jersey.
kids cannot do reading and math.
Before I start this, I want you to realize this is New Jersey. And you'll understand why I want you to realize that.
A month ago, we got a nation's report card. Two-thirds of our kids cannot do reading and math at grade level. You know more about the president's position on windmills than those reading scores.
Yep.
You have 50 governors and nobody called for an emergency meeting, and two-thirds of our kids are failing. They're failing. And it's not COVID, although that didn't help. Now, the good news is there's a lot of states showing the way out of this, like Mississippi's miracle.
Can you believe that, ladies and gentlemen? Governor, I hope you're listening. Secretary White, I know you tune in every once in a while. I hope you're hearing that. Brother Andy, Brother Shad, I appreciate both of you gentlemen. I hope you hear that. Mississippi getting credit for improving education. Now, we know there is a long way to go. I've got my friends who we know the standards need to be raised. We know we need to get some teachers out of the classroom. They're not really teachers. They're political operatives. We know that. But we cannot just sit here and always just dwell on the negative. You have to seize your victories. Sometimes you've got to celebrate them even when you don't want to. Sometimes you just have to go out there and celebrate those victories. And here you have this political speech ripping on windmills, ripping on education. Let's just hear what else he's got to say.
They have went from 49th on reading and math to 9th. And that's not because everybody else failed. What they did, they put more time on reading, they did phonics, they gave teachers support, and they held you accountable for results.
You mean Hooked on Phonics works? Do you mean that all this Common Core educational crap that we've plowed into America the last 15 years doesn't work? You know, I can remember mothers, fathers, parents warning of Common Core 15 years ago. And so many of us, I'm going to say that I didn't fear it or didn't take it seriously, but I didn't work against it nearly as much as I probably should have. But we've got a school, a whole generation full of people who are completely lost without their anxiety devices. They can't make decisions. Told you about like what I thought was a 5-year-old yesterday. Had to consult his iPhone. Just ridiculous.
Nobody goes from 3rd grade to 4th grade that can't read. That's right. And just get back to the basics. Stop with all this Harvard stuff.
Did you hear that? Oh, yeah. Stop with all this Harvard stuff. Harvard, arguably one of the pinnacles of progressive liberalism, democratic socialism, cultural Marxism. We got to get rid of it. We do. This Republican is just rocking. This is the kind of stuff that we need more Republicans talking about. This is the kind of stuff we need more parents talking about. Oh, man, I digress.
Is what they need to know. Time on task.
Time on task. Bombs on target.
I'm going to be honest with you guys, this is on us. We decided to make the classroom the cultural war zone.
Wait, whoa, huh? Classrooms are cultural war zones? Is that because we're not teaching American culture, or is it because we're importing a bunch of culture into this country, whether it be legally or by illegal means? Do you see how important being a member of a school board actually is? This Republican, he bringing it. He's got receipts. My kind of guy.
We got one kid trying to figure out what a pronoun is, and we never noticed that 30 kids can't tell you what a pronoun is.
It's true. Pronouns. What's a pronoun? I know what a pronoun is. I'm not trying to, but he's making real points, and you can hear by not only the laughter in my voice and perhaps your voice, but the people in the audience. We all know pronouns are quite frankly just bull. We know it, but no one is really saying it until the day before the election. I think we've missed an opportunity here. This guy's getting it right. Let's continue.
We were arguing about bathroom access, and we forgot about classroom excellence.
We forgot about, or we focused on bathroom excellence and forgot about classroom excellence. Well, what I would say to that is I don't want no dude in my daughter's bathroom. And I'm not threatening anybody or anything like that, but I'd be upset. As I think many of the fathers, many of the men who appreciate their daughters, who know how special they are, how wonderful they are, how much joy they don't just bring to us as a father or as a family, but as a community and as a group. Our daughters are so special. Think about it. They bring life into this world. What job is bigger than that? Let's continue.
Yes.
In San Francisco, they argued about whether the school could be named after Abraham Lincoln, not worried about whether the kids in the school know why Abraham Lincoln's a giant.
Oh, we cheered and then we had to stop real quick. Are you sure this is a Republican? Can't cheer Abraham Lincoln. Can't cheer the Republican Party, which was formed in Wisconsin to specifically defeat slavery, which our country still refuses to teach, which our education system continues to fail, especially the Black community, because the Black community doesn't get taught their own history. Oh, we get things handed down, but we can't teach the real history of the Republican Party and the Civil War because it goes against current liberal progressivism. Man, he kind of stepped out of line right there, but let's finish this up.
And we were into the cultural wars, and our kids were failing. We failed our kids. It's on us.
Yes, it is on you. It is on you. It is on you because you pushed all this stuff on us.
Yes.
That is not. I am in church now.
Here we go. This is a great place to kind of, we're going to come back to this, I promise. But he's right. You own this. You own this. And when we get back, we're going to hear the rest of the story. And I got you again. It's beautiful. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. We will be right back. Uno momento. Hey, can you call right back? You're really fuzzy.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, I'll try it again.
Yep.
All right. How about now?
Oh, so much better. What's going on, my friend?
I just was going to let your listeners know about my experience where I just went and tried to vote.
Oh, Chris, that would be awesome.
Emphasis on tried.
Ooh. Chris, we're going to put you on hold, my man. We're going to get to the commercial, and we'll go to you right after the break. I'm not even going to finish my thought. We're just going to go right there. Is that all right?
Yeah, that's cool.
Thanks, Chris. Be right back.
All right.
Yeah, you are back listening to the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. Brother Chris, are you on the phone?
I am here, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Hinkle is on the phone. He's a wonderful friend of mine. He fills in for me when I got to run to the doctor or something comes up. I'm so grateful and thankful for you, Brother Chris. What do you got for us this morning?
So I went this morning to attempt to vote. Now, as a backstory, I have met with both Colleen Wise and Mr. Tyner that are both running for Justice Court Judge. It is District 3 Justice Court Judge. We know that there are 5 districts for the Board of Supervisors. There are 5 districts for the education, for the people that are on the school board.
Yep.
We also know that those districts are not the same. And the last time I looked, apportionment is supposed to be based on population, not based on anything else. So there's no reason why 5 districts for each office would be different. Something similar has happened here with the Justice Court Judge. I've had both Mr. Tyner and Ms. Wise actually come to my house to campaign here in Cherry Hill Plantation, right off Bozeman Road. I drove 2.5 miles up to my polling place presented my ID so that I could vote, and I was told that District 3 Justice Court judge doesn't represent me. Even though there are signs all over my neighborhood, outside my neighborhood, I've got the candidates campaigning at my house. But for some reason, even the candidates don't understand where their district is. That's what I was told. So my question is, what exactly, besides every year reminding me to re-register my LLC, does the Secretary of State's office do? Because the computer at the polling place seems to know who is and is not supposed to vote, but the candidates and the voters don't know where they're, if they're supposed to vote, who represents them. It seems like a problem that has been going on in Mississippi for a while, and I don't fault just Michael Watson. I fault our representatives in the state house and in the state senate. This is getting ridiculous that I would take the time to go do my civic duty and vote, only to find out that even though my federal representative is District 3, I know who my school board member is, who's District 3, and I know who my Board of Supervisors member is, who's actually District 2, but I was unable to vote in this election because apparently the District 3 Justice Court in Madison County doesn't cover my neighborhood that's riddled with signs for Wise and Tyner. Isn't that interesting?
Chris, that's really interesting. I've got a question. Are you in front of a computer right now?
No, I am not.
What I'd like you to do, will you be, if you get home before like 12 noon, I don't know if you are, if you can't, that I understand it, but I wonder what my election day, Mississippi says about who your candidate is. That is the tool that.
Well, here's the problem that we have. We've got that court case going on that the Supreme Court's going to rule that you can't apportion based on race.
Yes.
So that's going to have a significant impact if Delbert Hosemann and the senators choose to take up the fight to actually apportion the way it's supposed to be to affect Benny Thompson. But it is interesting here in the state of Mississippi, in Madison County, probably one of the most conservative counties in the state, one of the top 3.
For sure.
That my Board of Supervisors, five supervisors, it's supposed to be apportioned based on population. My supervisor's District 2, but my school board, which is also 5 members, is based off of, I'm District 3. It really doesn't make any sense what's going on here. And although I know that the Secretary of State has limited power to do anything about it, he does have a megaphone. He does have the ability to stand up, to go to the Grip and Grin tomorrow, to get out on his website and call for a change so that this is more consistent, so that when citizens go to vote, they know exactly who they need to be researching. And you shouldn't have to just go to a website. It should be everything in District 3 covers this area. That's your school board, your state rep, your federal, all of that should be the same. It shouldn't be different. And I'm kind of curious as to what Delbert Hosemann's answer to that would be when they keep adding counties to Benny Thompson for his district. And we, on the right side, on the east side of 55, we have that apportioned out to 3 representatives. To me, it just doesn't make any sense.
Oh, it is map gerrymandering at its finest, brother Chris. And, we can all talk about how Illinois gerrymanders or Connecticut or California or fill in the state, but it happens here in Mississippi too. We arguably got rid of one of the most conservative state senators, and Melanie Sojourner.
Yep.
And we do not talk about that enough. And Delbert Hosemann is the one to be held responsible for that because he is the president of the Senate. He is the lieutenant governor of Mississippi, and that's where the maps come from. And ultimately, it's on him. I do, but I would kind of gently push back on you, Chris, a little bit. It is, you shouldn't have to go to a website, but unfortunately, our society, America, is so screwed up right now that we have to take that further step. And you're like the first person in this election, but I can think of like 3 or 4 other very distinct times where somebody thought they had to go vote. They said they couldn't vote. They went home and went to my election day and realized that they literally weren't in that district.
Well, I'll give you another example. The district where Rylan Thompson, when he was running for Madison County School Board,
I remember Rylan.
He lived in the district.
Yep.
He worked in the district. He campaigned in the district. When he went to the voting booth that was right down from his house where he votes for every other election, he wasn't on the ballot at his polling place in the place where he's scheduled to vote and lives. Tell me how that's supposed to work.
That's a Madison County problem, and I remember that. I don't know. I was a candidate, Chris, in obviously a different state, but I can remember that was on my checklist. One of the things to do was to go to go up to the county clerk and ask to see a ballot of every precinct. And, some precincts have 2 forms of ballots or 3 because that precinct is divided up and been carved up in such a way where it might be District 1 for county supervisor, District 2 for county or election commissioner, District 3 for school board. And it is a mess. And there does need to be standardization, dude. And it really makes me sad. I mean, the thing that makes me the most curious about your situation is how you have all of these judge signs all over your yard or your neighborhood, and yet you can't vote in that area. Did you get mailers from these guys by any chance?
Absolutely.
So
I got tons of mailers.
So this goes to show you, Chris, that the politicos, the people who run the campaigns, who these people hired, obviously thought that your area was in there. Brother, I would go check that, and if it says that, I would go contest it. I definitely think that there's something that's going on there that needs to be looked at and talked about because, and I've worked the polls, and sometimes things don't work right there and things get crisscrossed. But you should have been able to vote today from everything that you're telling me.
No. It's I agree, but I always have the same answer, and it's the same answer I've been giving for years, which is who is ultimately responsible for affecting this change, and that's us, the citizens, exercising that First Amendment right that almost every merit scholar at Madison Central High School that I've questioned doesn't seem to recall, that almost every federal, state, and local representative that when I ask them to articulate their First Amendment rights can't recall. And that's your right to petition and seek redress. When Delbert Hoseman shows up, or if Michael Watson's at the Grip and Grin tomorrow, I will go up to him and say, you're going to have to fix this. If this court case goes through, then there should be some power, and if there's not the power of the Secretary of State to affect this change, because Delbert Hoseman has done this based off race to protect Benny Thompson, then the only way that we can affect this change is to constantly challenge, civilly and cogently challenge our governor, our Secretary of State, our lieutenant governor, our federal representatives. We've got to constantly ask them, what are you going to do about this? And if you're not doing anything about it, why? It's the same reason that I don't think that any of these representatives truly care what we have to say. They care what the donors and the state parties have to say. Otherwise, when we had the weekend of murder and mayhem at 3 Mississippi high schools and 2 HBCs, did Michael Guest and Benny Thompson, since it was in their districts, did they come back and speak and talk to their constituents about the murder and mayhem that happened in their districts? No.
Nope.
They didn't.
It's absolutely incumbent. You're right. It's incumbent upon all of us as individuals. And Chris, you've known me for a while now. I almost sound like a broken record. In fact, I've been told I sound like it, but I'm going to keep beating that drum. And this is not directed at you, but until people really get concerned about their local races, just like this judge race, it's going to be harder to push that up the chain of command. That's one. Two, I'm not sure Michael Watson has any real jurisdiction over the map. I think the map specifically comes from the Senate. The Senate does get input from the House and from other places, but it's Michael Watson pretty much gets his marching orders from the Mississippi Constitution and those maps that ultimately the Senate and the House and the governor approve.
But he has the ability to stand up, to get it before the podium,
Oh,
and
yeah.
explain it and say, the reason that it is this way is not because of the Secretary of State's office. It's because of the Lieutenant Governor in the Senate. But these guys won't even call out each other.
Oh,
You know, unless you're willing to hold your fellow Republicans, and I use that in air quotes,
Yep.
accountable, nothing is going to change until you stand before and call out the Mississippi GOP, the state party, that actually puts the candidates before you and forces you to choose those candidates. We don't have any real organic candidates that rise. What happens is when a senator decides he's not going to run again, and I'll be shocked if Roger Wicker runs again, the state party is already going to have somebody selected that they're going to recommend to the governor to put into that position. For representatives, the way it works is the representatives lets the state party know, hey, I'm going to retire. I'm not going to seek another term. They give them a behind-the-scenes heads up. They start identifying a candidate who's already off and running as soon as that person says, I'm going to retire and I'm not seeking another term. And I'm not just talking out of the other side of my rear end
nope.
when I say that, because I got approached about running for an office because the individual was thinking about running for another office. And they said, we can get you set up. And it wasn't just the state party. It was some donors and some lobbyists and stuff that came to approach me. Now, they did approach me saying, we like the way that you speak. You're very strong on the Constitution. This is something that we need. It wasn't, hey, we're going to scratch your back. You can scratch ours. So I did consider it at the time. But the majority of these, when these individuals get selected, and my guess is that's how we wound up with Michael Guest as our representative in 3. My guess is that when the candidate that was there before him decided to step down, they already had him identified. This is the person we're going to put forward.
Chris, you shine the spotlight on a real big problem. Brother, I got to take a commercial break, man. But
All right, brother.
I appreciate the phone call. Chris, do me a favor. Are you going to be home within the next hour to check and see if My Election Day actually says that you're supposed to vote there?
What was the site again?
If you just Google Mississippi My Election Day, and I'll try to text you. I'll text you here during the break, too.
Yeah, I'll text you and let you know.
Brother, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All right, man.
Later, brother. That was Chris Hinkle, everybody. You can follow him on X at BF Conservative, Blunt Force Conservative. And look, I know I went long in this segment, so I'm just going to wrap it up the right way. Texter Rick texts in, how can you ever prove voter fraud if the people running the campaigns don't even know who's supposed to be voting in the district? Man, the WYAB listening audience, we are a bunch of Rhodes Scholars. We figure this stuff out. It's true. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. When we get back, we got lots to talk about. Hang in there. Oh, yeah. Welcome back to the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. I didn't even give the phone line out. The phone line, if you want to be part of the program today, 601-879-0002. That was Chris Hinkle. Chris, you brought so much to the table right there in that phone call. These are just certain things that I want to follow up on that you brought up. You talked about how the Republican Party, just puts up their candidate and say, this is who we got. And what I would respectfully say, and I'm not hating on the Republican, I'm just telling how it is. There's two Republican parties inside the Republican Party. There's actually three. First, you just have the base, which is the party. Everybody's going to see them. Then you have the money donors, and that might be 10 to 15% of the Republican Party that kick in serious amounts of money. And then you have the activists, the walkers, the political, or the people who aren't in the political class, but who volunteer on campaigns, who vote in every election, who make sure they go out on sign patrol and put out signs at 2:30 in the morning. They go to the election polling places, make sure that the candidate's sign are there. There's two sides to the Republican Party there, and I'm not saying this out, just pulling it out of my behind. I was GOP chairman. I understand exactly how it works. We could have a packed gymnasium full of people who want X. It might be 70 to 1, 70 to 30. But the money people come in afterwards behind the scene and just throw ridiculous amounts of money, then that's the way it's going to go. And I wish I had a better answer to talk about how to fix that, especially when it comes to elections. But I do know that when people get involved inside the actual party, whether it be Hinds County Republican Party, Rankin County Republican Party, Mississippi GOP, whatever it is, when you are plugged into there, you do have a little bit more of a say. And again, this goes back to rule 3 of politics. And everybody should know rule 3, which is build your own army. Don't depend on the GOP. Don't depend on the Democrats. If you're a liberal out there listening to my show, and I know I got liberals listening because one of my liberal listeners just texted me this, and I'll put this out on X in a minute. Blue sky, ladies and gentlemen. Real quick before we get back, just saw a shiny object, squirrel. Blue Sky has just put out a statement. Announcement. Unfortunately, Blue Sky is unavailable in Mississippi right now. A new Mississippi law requires us to implement age verification for all users before they can access Blue Sky. We think that this law creates challenges that go beyond a child's safety goals and creates significant barriers that limit free speech and disproportionately harm smaller platforms and emerging technologies. As a small team, we cannot justify building the expensive infrastructure this requirement demands while legal challenges to this law are pending. For now, we have made the difficult decision to block access to Blue Sky in the state of Mississippi. To learn more, read our blog post, Blue Sky. Praise God to that. Blue Sky is nothing more than a villainous hive of pedophiles, sexual assaulters, progressive liberals, violent left-wing activists. Blue Sky is terrible. I actually went on there for about 6 seconds, and I knew it wasn't for me. And there are all sorts of stories out there where you can learn about Blue Sky. But I did want to read that because the point is that the conservative side, you got two sides to it, just like the Democrats have two sides. They've got Blue Sky. They organize through there. The way that the Blue Sky people are operating is not necessarily the way the mainstream Democrat Party is operating. And we've got to remember that at every point that we're looking at that. The other thing you talked about is, Republicans don't do a good job of building the bench so that candidates can bubble up organically so that we can literally get the best cream of the crop. They don't, which is why everything that I talk about specifically is building the bench. We need people like you on the bench. And if you're not on the bench, you're not in the game. I mean, I know so many of you out there who would make such great ward aldermen, who would make a great school board member or a county supervisor, but won't do it for whatever reason. And I'm not holding that against you. I'm not. But I'm telling you, I'm telling you that if we truly want to build the conservative bench in Mississippi, in Hinds County, Rankin County, Madison County, Warren County, Yazoo County, what am I missing? Copiah County, Scott County, Jones County, wherever, you have to be the person who does it. You have to be the one who leads it. Because the party, not that they don't want to do it, they just won't do it for whatever reason. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. We will be right back.
For the best experience. Save more with Papa Rewards and all the best deals. Order today and enjoy the new specials and Papa's pairings at papajohns.com and at locations throughout the metro.
Hi, this is Casey Holcomb with Mississippi Hometown Realty. This is the perfect weather for football.
Hey, Chad, just want to give you a quick update. Chris Hinkle just called back in. He did go to the right polling place. He was where he was supposed to be. Now he's printed out his sample ballot and is returning to the polling place. So we'll see what happens. Oh, yeah. You are tuned into the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB, 50,000 watts. And the first hour goes by so quickly, so quickly. I do want to tell you two things. Number one, Chris Hinkle did go back to his computer, went to my election day, Mississippi, and found out he was at the right polling place. He has printed out his sample ballot and now is en route back to his polling place. He's going to call us in the next hour, hopefully, and let us know what the deal is there. The other question was, unfortunately, or people were asking, what's the problem with Blue Sky? Blue Sky has a lot of really far left rhetoric, violent stuff on there, and it's just proven fact that there are a lot of people who want to do a lot of disgusting things to kids on that platform. And Mississippi has an age requirement law for their social media. Um, I'm not a computer engineer, programmer, but Blue Sky, you've got AI out there. Figure it out. Figure it out. Definitely want to make sure that we want social media platforms out there that are allowing free speech. We want that. But free speech is not grooming 15-year-olds or 12-year-olds, which just seems to be what more and more of these social media platforms are doing. You look at Instagram, how they get maligned, and rightfully so, for putting in parental controls that are completely next to nothing. It's like there's a box there, you can click it. It says parental control, does absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. This first hour, between what's happening in our our elections, whether it be inside the state of Mississippi or outside the Mississippi, you, it it's uncontrolled madness right now. Think about this. We started off strong too. I literally the stack of stuff today. We will unfortunately not get through it all. But it gives me the point to number one, say out there, go out there and vote. If you haven't voted yet, obviously Senate District 26. I'm just telling you my candidate, personal preference. This is Andrew Gosser speaking. Coleman Boyd, great guy, man of character. Love to have that. Love to see that. And I also want to tell you about tomorrow. Tomorrow is Grip and Grim at Mama Hamill's. If you are interested in conservative politics, Republican politics, go to Mama Hamill's at 11:30 in the morning and go rub elbows with some people. I will tell you what is not the answer to fixing this nation and this country. And it is exactly what the Democrats have been practicing and preaching. They want us to divide ourselves. They want us to segregate ourselves. Don't go to mom's house on Thanksgiving. Mom and dad ain't coming to your house on Christmas. You know, there's all these different ways to slice and dice, and they want us sliced up so that they can easily control us. We have to fight that at every turn, and the only way you're going to do that is by getting involved. And if that means going to Mama Hamill's on a Wednesday, then go to Mama Hamill's on a Wednesday. Don't forget to tip your waitress. You're listening to Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9. We will be right back.
While the White House has lowered flags to have staff, President Trump has not commented yet on his death.
CBS's Michael Wallace tells us math teachers at an Arizona high school received hundreds of death threats over their Halloween costumes.
The 8 teachers in Vail near Tucson wore T-shirts with fake blood and the words "problem solved." It was a reference to solving math problems, but many people who saw the photos online thought the teachers were mocking the death of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. The teachers received hundreds of threats by email and phone. The school superintendent says the situation was taken out of context.
And checking Wall Street, right now the Dow is down 138 points. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive. See why over 43 million drivers trust Progressive to stay protected on the road. See for yourself at Progressive.com.
So my mother is thinking of switching from Verizon to Pure Talk, but she's worried the deal sounds too good to be true. Michael, she said, how can those Pure Talk people offer me the same basic service as Verizon for so much less money? I said, Ma, go ask Google how much Verizon spends on advertising and promotions. A few seconds later, my mother said, oh my goodness, $12 billion a year? That must be a typo. I'll tell you what I told my mom. It's not a typo. Verizon spends $12 billion a year on advertising and promotions, and their customers are paying for it. Well, Pure Talk doesn't spend that kind of money on commercials. Trust me, I would know. That's why they can offer you and my mother unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a crazy fast 5G network for just $25 a month. And if you're a business owner, you could really save a fortune. Dial pound 250, say the words Mike Rowe, and you'll get an additional 50% off your first month. That's pound 250 Mike Rowe. Pure Talk.
Local news and weather brought to you by Mississippi Energy Services. We're your fast, affordable, and friendly generator service company. msenergy.us. msenergy.us.
Danger on the job in Rankin County. Sunny and 73 this afternoon. Tonight, clear and 43. Sunny and 76 Wednesday. Upper 70s Thursday and Friday with showers possible Friday. You've got news on 103.9 WYAB. I'm Chris Davis. The electric shock that one man got while on a job site in Rankin County Monday afternoon just after 1 was so severe that he had to be flown to the hospital via medical chopper. That happened at the intersection of Highways 25 and 43, says the Rankin County Sheriff's Department. That man was still breathing when he was taken to the hospital. Another worker was also shocked but not hurt as bad. A Ford Ranger crashed into a hayride rig with 15 kids on board this weekend in Lee County, say authorities there. Happened Saturday night. They say none of the kids were hurt, but the driver of the Ranger ended up going to the ER to be treated. A man who was hit and killed on Terry Road Saturday has been ID'd by police as 38-year-old James Curtis. Police say that was Saturday when Curtis walked in front of a Chrysler Sebring. Fraud is the charge. The owner of TDK Tax Services in Jackson has been arrested, says the state auditor's office. They accuse Vernicia Cody of submitting false documents to the State Department of Health to get some state COVID grant money. A man wanted on murder charges in Jackson has been turned over to JPD after being caught by Pearl Police. Nat Savine Vaughn was wanted for the murder of 39-year-old Quentin Boggin in Jackson. The Germantown High School Marching Band won the Mississippi State Class 7A Championship Saturday at Northwest Rankin High School. Germantown's show Tempest beat out 16 other 7A high school performances, and it was Germantown's second straight title and third in the past 4 years. More news in 1 hour on 103.9 WYAB. I'm Chris Davis.
The views and opinions expressed in this program are the individual views and opinions of the people expressing them and do not necessarily reflect those of this radio station, its parent, affiliated, or related entities, agents, or employees.
Yes, yes, you are. You are tuned into the Andrew Gosser Show right here on the 50,000 watt Mississippi blowtorch that is 103.9 WYAB. It is the 4th of November, 2025. It is Tuesday. It is election day here in Mississippi. Get out and vote. If the poll worker says you're not supposed to vote, go to go to my election, Google myelectionday.com. And it is run by Secretary of State Michael Watson. It'll tell you where you're supposed to vote. And print out your sample ballot and roll up into that polling position or polling place like you understand you need to be there, and educate some people. Because this is 2025. We shouldn't be dealing with some of the problems that we're dealing with. You know, I kicked off the show with this person speaking in New Jersey, and there's a whole nother side to this, but it's been almost a full hour. So what I'm going to do, it's only 2 minutes and 24 seconds long. For those of you who didn't listen in the first hour, I want to refresh your mind. I want to recage your mind. Let's listen to this real quick and talk about it. It's important.
A month ago, we got a nation's report card. 2/3 of our kids cannot do reading and math at grade level. You know more about the president's position on windmills than those reading scores. You have 50 governors and nobody called for an emergency meeting, and 2/3 of our kids are failing. They're failing. And it's not COVID, although that didn't help. Now, the good news is there's a lot of states showing the way out of this. Like Mississippi's Miracle. They have went from 49th on reading and math to 9th. And that's not because everybody else fails. What they did, they put more time on reading, they did phonics, they gave teachers support, and they held you accountable for results. Nobody goes from 3rd grade to 4th grade that can't read. And just get back to the basics. Stop with all this Harvard stuff.
Stop with the
Teach
Harvard
kids what
stuff.
They need to know. Time on task. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys, it's on us. We decided to make the classroom the cultural war zone.
Remember what he said right there. This is on us. Very critical and an important detail right there. Continue, sir.
We got one kid trying to figure out what a pronoun is, and we never noticed that 30 kids can't tell you what a pronoun is. We were arguing about bathroom access, and we forgot about classroom excellence.
Yes.
In San Francisco, they argued about whether the school could be named after Abraham Lincoln, not worried about whether the kids in the school know why Abraham Lincoln's a giant.
I love that spot right there because they all get excited. Then they realize, oh, wait, we can't clap that.
And we were into the cultural wars, and our kids were failing. We failed our kids. It's on us.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, who are you listening to? I know I said it was a Republican, but it wasn't that I was lying. It's just I wish there was a Republican who would say something like that. This is actually a Democrat at a Democrat rally / fundraiser for the governor position in New Jersey. I know her first name's Mikey. I don't remember her last name. I just see Mikey everywhere. So that's what this is. Rahm Emanuel, ladies and gentlemen. Rahm Emanuel has entered into the 2028 presidential campaign. You do not say things like that against the Democrat Party. Look, he even said it. We own it, right? You heard it. We own it. The Democrats are so broken. They're so fractured. They're so lost. They have no real single leader, whether we like President Trump or not, which I do. I like the man. I don't agree with everything, but he's my president. We know who our leader is, and for the most part, begrudgingly, the party is marching with them. But make no mistake about it, even though they're marching, you know, Trump's the lead drill instructor out there. He's got his assistant drill instructors out there, and it's a work to get us to move in the right direction. Rahm Emanuel, 2/3 of America's kids can't read or do math at grade level. That alone should be a national emergency. Brother, you're from Chicago. You are the former mayor of Chicago. You were over at Chicago Public Schools. Dude, don't be lecturing us when you were running that ooh, I almost said a bad word. That show. Terrible. Unmitigated disaster. Let's continue with what Rahm said, because this part, I do appreciate good humor, and some people will be really offended by this. If you want to be offended, be offended.
That is not. I am in church now.
You are in church. You need to find Jesus, Brother Rahm. We need you to get you home.
Not bad for a Jewish kid at a Baptist synagogue.
Not bad for a Jewish kid at a Baptist synagogue. Giving high fives.
I got it when I get amen. We don't do that at Temple. What we get is you owe another $1,000. You get a front seat and more money. I can say that, not you guys. Okay?
I can say that, not you guys, okay? What word immediately comes to mind? Sometimes, things just write themselves. If you cannot see how the violent leftist radicals in this country are, if you can't see how they are ripping us apart, pulling us to shreds, I ain't got nothing for you, man. I do not have nothing for you. But if you go to Rahm Emanuel's X account, whatever, landing page, you can listen to this. And what really needs to be heard, and everybody, if you don't listen to anything else I say today, listen to this. Rahm Emanuel is running for president. I'm not saying he's going to actually declare and get on the ballot, but he is lining himself up right now. Incredibly rich donors going to give him a buttload of money to support the Democrat. Meanwhile, there's all sorts of other stuff going on with these races, these Democrat races. And we are going to use my friend Harry Enton for this, because there are people out there saying the New Jersey governor, Mikey Sherrill, is going to lose. And these are Republicans. There are Republicans out there that are saying Spanberger in Virginia is going to lose. There are Republicans out there saying that Zohan Mardami is going to lose. So what is it? Let's listen to Harry, because whether we like him or don't like him, he is the most animated and he is entertaining. So if we can get educated while being entertained, I say click the button.
I mean, the common denominator here is Donald Trump, and Democrats are on the precipice of delivering a huge blow to Donald Trump in his second term. What are we talking about here? Well, why don't we just look? Democrats lead all the key races. You go to New Jersey governor. That's really the only close one. Mikey Sherrill, the Democrat, up by 6 points. Abigail Spanberger in Virginia, up by 10. Zohran Mamdani, up by 16 points in New York City. The bottom line is this. Yes, there are ideological differences between the Democrats, but the key common component is they are all going after Donald Trump, and all the Democrats lead from New Jersey to Virginia to New York City. They all lead the Republican and independent opponents.
How much?
I don't know if Harry answers this question, but I'm going to answer it the way that I think makes the most sense. When Donald Trump won the election in 2024, he had so many first-time voters. He had so many center-left people who never would have dreamed in a million of years voting for a Republican voted for Donald Trump. They crossed the aisle. Donald Trump energized people who normally weren't involved in politics to come out and vote one time. One time. Eric Melton, yep, you are right. You are right, sir. That was Rahm Emanuel was Obama's chief of staff. That's Obama's chief of staff saying that the Democrats own it. That's Obama's chief of staff saying that the Democrats screwed up education. That's Obama's chief of staff saying that Mississippi figured out how to fix education. That's Obama's chief of staff saying that, hey, we got to change our ways. That's Obama's chief of staff culturally appropriating Christianity as a Jewish man at a campaign event. It just is what it is. That just is what it is. Let's continue to listen to this.
Does he impact in the cases? Never mind that they want to beat him in their minds. It's sort of like, hey, this is to show you that we can beat you. But how much is he affecting you?
I mean, look, Donald Trump is a huge drag in all of these races. Look at his net popularity ratings in New Jersey. He's 11 points underwater. Virginia, 14 points underwater. Not much of a big surprise in New York. He's 35 points underwater. And I will note nationally in my aggregate.
People are starting to blow up the phone line. Let's take phone calls and we'll get back to Henry right here. Hey, go ahead. You're on the air.
Hey, it's Chris Hinkle.
Hey.
I just was able to vote.
Oh, wonderful.
I had to sign by affidavit, and I found out the source of why I wasn't showing up on the voter rolls. Now, I've been here second time living in Mississippi since 2006.
Mm-hmm.
I have voted in every election since 2006. The lady at the polling place said, I remember you coming in here to vote for president this past November. I said, yep. She said, unfortunately, it shows that you are inactive on the voter rolls. And I said, well, how is that possible since I keep showing up? She said that there was something that the Attorney General's office, Lynn Fitch, when they were going in, I guess, verifying voter rolls or something. And she said some people got something to sign. Some people didn't. We're finding out. She said, but there's been like 50 people so far that found out that they were inactive on the voter rolls. There's one of the candidates, Colleen Wise, half of her neighborhood can't vote for her. How is that possible?
Oh, this is an unmitigated disaster, Chris.
Yeah, so I'm going to contact Tony Geiger, who's a friend of mine at Lynn Fitch's office, and say, can you tell me again why someone that has been voting in every election in Mississippi since 2006, how is it that the Attorney General's office, and I'm not faulting just Lynn Fitch, but her office, why did they have, change me to being an inactive voter?
That's unbelievable to me. There are supposed to be certain procedures that were put in place to move somebody from the active voter roll to the inactive voter roll. I honestly would call Mike Watson's office, Chris, and just say, hey, what the heck happened here? And I hope you run with this and really expose all of the craziness that has happened inside our elections, because there is absolutely no excuse for someone like you to have been moved to the inactive role. Now I'm wondering if I'm inactive. How many of us listening to this radio show right now are inactive? We don't know.
Well, I would recommend doing what I did, which is thank you for directing me to the website.
Mm-hmm.
I put my zip code in, my address, and I printed a sample ballot out, and I brought it up here. And then she contacted the clerk's office to say, what's going on? They had me listed as inactive. I said, well, who put me as inactive? And she said it was coming out of the Attorney General's office. And I said, well, that's kind of interesting. Said, yeah, I guess they had some issues with people in jury duty. I said, probably 6 or 8 months ago, I got called for jury duty. I called the number that was on there. They said, call first thing this Monday morning, find out if you need to be up here. And I did. And they said, okay, they're not having the grand jury this week, so you're good to go. You don't have to show up. I'm like, all right, thanks a lot. So
Wow.
obviously I'm good enough to get called for jury duty. I've not missed a vote since 2006. I think I voted once absentee because I was out of the state teaching.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. But I don't miss voting.
Well, the other thing that people don't realize about, but when you vote by affidavit, those ballots are counted separately and aren't even looked at unless it's within the voter margin of error.
I asked her about that. She said, nope, these will get counted. That bag will be opened at the end of this. Those will be run through. They will be counted. I said, well, it's my understanding that, when you vote absentee, which is different than affidavit, absentee, that the only time they open those is if the difference between the two candidates, if the number of absentee votes is greater than that, where they would go in and have to count to see. Otherwise, they don't even get looked at. She said, nope, this is an affidavit. You're saying, I live here. This is my address. I'm authorized to vote in this election, and I'm voting. It's not voting where I'm going to be out of town. And those are sealed up. So it is a little bit different.
Chris, that is interesting you say that. And I am gonna, after the show today, I'm gonna make a phone call and I'm gonna find out, because when I went through election training twice, as a matter of fact, I went through it twice just because I wanted to make sure. I remember specifically being told that the affidavits get put to the side, and if they're needed, they're used. If not, they just stay in the affidavit pile. So, dude, I'm glad you got to vote, and I'm glad we got to talk about this and get the word out there to people. People, check your voter act at registry. Make sure that you're an active voter. And Chris, thanks again for talking about my voter day. People don't, or my election day, excuse me. People don't realize how easy of a site that is to use.
Yeah, so I'm going to wait till tomorrow, and if I see Michael Watson at Grip and Grin, I'm just going to go up and ask him directly about it, and I'll give him a copy of the sample ballot that I printed out. Thank him for the website, but he needs to get with Lynn Fitch's office. I would think that the criteria would be, let's find out if this person's an active voter. Well, they've voted in every election since 2006. Seems pretty active to me.
Yep, and I'm going to keep my comments about the AG to myself. I don't got nothing nice to say. Keep it to yourself. I'll just leave it at that. I'm going to give you the last word, brother Chris. You got anything else for us, my man?
Yeah, everybody go vote. And when you get a chance, exercise that First Amendment right to petition and seek redress. And follow me on X.
Hey,
at BF Conservative.
And when's your next podcast, my man?
Either going to do one today or tonight. I'm going to try to get a little more consistent in doing that. But we're just going to kind of hit some of the news of the day. I'm working on a couple of guests right now that I will always make my announcement beforehand if we're going to have somebody famous. I'm still coordinating with Victor Davis Hansen's office, trying to get him in.
Chris, you are doing amazing stuff. I am proud and thankful to call you a friend. And dude, thank you so much. We'll talk to you again soon.
Hey, thanks, bud. Hey, let me know when you have Mark Mitchell on.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got to get back to him. My voice was shot last week. I didn't get a chance to get back with him yet. Thanks,
brother.
Thanks for the call, my man. Everybody, that was Chris Hinkle. Turned away from his own polling location, went back, my election day, got a sample ballot, went back, voted affidavit. We'll see what happens. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. We will be right back.
Tuned here to 103.9 WYAB.
Antique Mall of the South has 14,000 square feet of pristine, clean floor space. Home to beautiful, timeless antique treasures. Antique Mall of the South is open Monday to Saturday, 10 to 5. Check them out online at antiquemallofthesouth.com or go to the Antique Mall of the South Facebook page. You can also read the dozens of 5-star reviews online. Come see for yourself at Antique Mall of the South in Ridgeland. Now open Monday to Saturday, 10 to 5. That's Antique Mall of the South, Highway 51 in Ridgeland.
Your roof is constantly exposed exposed to the elements, battling dirt, algae, and stains. But with Watkins Construction and Roofing Roof Wash Service, you can keep it looking like new. A proprietary rooficide treatment is EPA approved, safe, and guaranteed to prevent algae from coming back for at least 2 years. No harsh chemicals, no damage, no black streaks. Just a clean, beautiful roof that lasts. Call Watkins Construction and Roofing at 601-966-8233 or visit nomoreroofstains.com today.
Getting a new prescription filled in your eyeglasses may
Unit 18, Chinook, criminal trespassing.
At junikerjewelry.com.
Or come see us in Madison and shop Mississippi's largest fine jeweler.
With 10 times the selection of diamonds, engagement rings, diamond jewelry, earrings, pearls, and estate jewelry you'll find in average jewelry stores.
All at the guaranteed best prices in the state.
That's why folks have made us a Mississippi family tradition for 80 years now.
This holiday, we even have 3-year interest-free financing for qualified buyers.
We've made it easy.
Guys, bagging a trophy buck is hard.
So come shop where the hunting is easy. Juniker Jewelry Company. Your deer will love it.
We guarantee it.
Juniker Jewelry Company. From anywhere in Mississippi. We're at 1485 Highland Colony Parkway, just south of 463 in Madison, and online at junikerjewelry.com, Mississippi's direct diamond importer.
Hey, Rankin County, swing by the locally owned and award-winning 042 Wine and Spirits on Highway 80 next to Sonny's Barbecue in Brandon today. We've got one of the largest selections around with over 200 bourbons and whiskeys to ignite your taste buds, more than 50 vodkas, 50-plus tequilas, 30-plus rums, and ready-to-drink cocktails, as well as premium scotches. And get this, we've got over 400 wines in stock for the perfect pairing anytime. Discover your new favorites today at 042 Wine and Spirits right next to Sonny's Barbecue, Highway 80, Cross Gates, Brandon.
Y'all come see us at Flora Animal Hospital, your trusted hometown vet. We offer a wide variety of veterinary services, including boarding. Dr. Kaylee McCary is a Madison County native who has been serving the Flora community and surrounding areas since 2013. She leads our team of highly trained and compassionate women. We are located at 740 Highway 49 in the Cotton Exchange Plaza. Call us today at 601-879-3222. At Flora Animal Hospital, we treat your pets like our own.
Yeah, you are tuned into the Andrew Gasser Show right here at 103.9 WYAB. All sorts of craziness kicking off. 6 to 7 bomb threats have been called in the state of New Jersey at polling locations. Who's doing that? Who's doing that? Will the FBI use geocaching to figure out who's got that all hooked up? I don't know. But we have so much more to talk about. And I just want to apologize now. This is going to be a quick segment. Chris and I went long. We do that. It just is what it is. This is the kind of lady I want living next to me.
My son was the one who actually said that he heard the monkeys, he heard the dogs barking, and he said he thought it was a monkey in the yard. And I said, well, go look and see. I was trying to get my phone and get my gun together, and he come to the door, and he said, Ma, I think the monkey out there. And I come out here, and I bagged my truck up because I didn't want to be out here by the monkey and it run up to me. So I shot at it. The first time he just sat there, and I shot again, and that's when he went back. And I said, I was confused because he wasn't scared of anything. He didn't move. He just sitting there watching me.
It's scary, isn't it?
Yeah. So I was calling the police and calling everybody to come get it. So, but I'm just trying to figure out why isn't Tulane having some kind of rescue or some kind of drone out, looking for it, looking for all these monkeys. So if another one come in my yard, I'm gonna have to take care of it too.
That is an awesome mom. I wonder if she hit the first time and it just stunned the monkey as it's getting ready to fall over. It wasn't like a critical hit, but she popped it. And I'm telling you what, if I've got an animal on my property, especially not something that is not indigenous to the area, it's going to die. And this is a good mama, man. She's the mother of 5 kids, and there's all sorts of stories on it. And good on her. That audio comes from Unlimited L's, by the way. You can follow them on X at just unlimited_Ls. And I'll retweet this right now so that if you're interested in that, you can go ahead and follow that and get yourself educated on that. Last quick little bit pop here of election type of news. This is coming from Gallup, gallup.com. If you had to ask how many of people support voter ID and proof of registration before you vote, what percentage of America supports that right now? According to Gallup. This isn't according to Andrew Gosser or a conservative think tank. This is Gallup, which is liberal as liberal can get. According to Gallup, 83% of Americans support proof of citizenship for the right to vote. 15% do not support it, which means that there's 2% out there that's in limbo somewhere. It's just goes to show you how screwed up the liberals and the Democrats are on the left. They can't even support voter ID. And they are saying that it's discrimination and that people can't get an ID. Just shut up. This is 2025. Remember when I wasn't a full-time host here, but if someone needed to go get a ID to vote, I said, text me 601-879-5060. I will take you to your county clerk free of charge. Because I want to see somebody in 2025 try to deny somebody a ID card to go vote. If darn it, if One Voice Jackson can get Guatemalans ID cards here in Mississippi, surely we can get Americans ID cards here in Mississippi. It's not difficult. It's not tough. I got to get back to Harry Enton. We're going to take a break. We're going to get back on schedule. We'll be right back. You're listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. And we are back here at the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. Crazy show. Sometimes things just happen and it just goes in a direction that I'm not necessarily thinking about. I mean, I never would have put that even a thought that someone like Chris would have his voter activity reduced to inactive, but it is what it is. But let's continue on with Harry Enton here, who is talking up how the Democrats are running against Donald J. Trump.
Polls, he's about 13 points underwater. In our CNN poll, he's way below that, which looks a lot like New Jersey, a lot like Virginia. So these races, in my mind, could be huge bellwethers going into next year to understanding how Donald Trump is impacting these races. He is a huge, huge drag in across the board, New Jersey, Virginia, and New York City.
What's really interesting to hear this, too, is the info babe. Great honor. She's sitting there nodding and excited about Trump taking down the Republican Party. But I don't think off-year elections are necessarily a ringing endorsement or a bellwether. It could be. But many of the people who mentored me, who had been active in politics for over 5 decades, more than I've been alive, have always said, Andy, don't get stuck into these quote-unquote bellwether races, especially when they're off year or special elections, because you're not going to have the same voter electorate getting those or voting for those people to get into office. Tomorrow or the next day or whenever Secretary White comes out with the people who actually voted today, it'll be interesting to see if we got over. What do you want to put the over under at? 20%? 25%? Let's put the over under at I'll put it at 20%. And I'll even I'm honest about this, hold me accountable if I don't, but the next 5 texters who text me, if we get more than 25%, we'll find out one of our station sponsors, and I'll take you all to lunch on me. Because I don't think we're going to have more than 20% voter turnout today. Whereas in a presidential race, you get much more. It's honestly, these off-year elections, these special elections are the most fun campaigns to run because you can really sit down and narrow the targets out who you want to show up and vote, and realizing that these low propensity voters aren't going to be there. More importantly, it's those high propensity in voters, those voters, people like you and like me who genuinely care. You have an enormous opportunity to change the direction of that elected office. I'm really curious to see how my man Coleman Boyd does. I want him to pull it out. I think he'd be great Christian guy leading from the front up there. It would be good. It'll be interesting to see what the total voter turnout there. And again, there's no special election after this. So it's a quote unquote jungle election. Whoever's at the top wins. Another story. This is coming from my friend Hunter. 5 states with highest and lowest property taxes. What's really shocking in this to me is that Illinois is no longer in the top 5 property tax states. New Jersey, New Hampshire, Connecticut, Massachusetts, all New England, all very liberal, and Washington State, again, very Democrat, very liberal. What are the lowest states with property tax? Number 1, West Virginia. Number 2, Alabama. Number 3, Arkansas. Number 4, the SIP, Mississippi. And last but not least, number 5, South Kakalaki. Republican states all at the bottom, liberals all at the top. I don't know. We economically cannot continue to sustain ourselves like this. The taxes that we pay, the property taxes that we pay here in Mississippi are so attractive. You can literally have a great life in Mississippi. And I know that there's so many people who have lived here and perhaps don't share my opinion. I respect you. But I'm telling you, when you have property taxes in New Jersey, where the average tax on a home is $9,413, who can afford that? That's a mortgage. That's at least a car note. That's a lot of stinking money. So let's put this into perspective. New Jersey with the highest property tax, $9,413. The highest taxed Republican state is South Carolina at $1,328. Washington State, which is the 5th highest property taxes in all of the nation, charges roughly $6,338 per house. Whereas in West Virginia, it's $728. We have completely screwed up our Constitution, what the founding fathers thought when we put on this income tax and all these property taxes. We've got to get back to consumption. We have to. If we don't, our country is just going to consume itself away. And we will not be around to be able to figure it out. It's absolutely staggering to look at all of these different states who claim they're better than us. Mississippi always gets pooped upon by the national media, people from outside our state. Yet we are quietly being cited for the Mississippi Miracle. Yet we have some of the best property taxes in the United States of America. I'm not saying I like taxes at all, but we're competitive. We are in such a good place in Mississippi. It's not perfect. And look, we need some leadership changes at the top and in the middle and at the bottom. But we're getting there. We are getting there. Everything that I could tell, I put out a few texts to a couple of my friends who are out there either working the polls day or poll watching. They say turnout is incredibly light. Turnout is incredibly light. There's no way we're going to make 20%. There's no way. Something that Clay and I got to talk about, man, just 2 hours goes by so quickly. Clay and I got to talk about was everything that was happening with the quote unquote EBT apocalypse. Judge said, Trump, you got to pay it. And Trump said, with what money? Show me how. And again, the kings and queens in black robes get snookered again. There is no mechanism in place to use the quote emergency fund for SNAP and EBT. It's for natural disasters. It's for things way outside the scope of EBT and SNAP. And there are a lot of people who are going to be upset by this because they think that Trump's going to pay it, and he's not. He's not. My senior political advisor came up with this point, and after he made this point to me a couple days ago, it's now starting to trickle around. I was just being honest with you. Always like to be honest with my audience. Appreciate you so much. But I genuinely thought we would see more unrest and more craziness. But he had an awesome theory. He said it's not going to be that. He goes, in fact, you are going to see shelves in the stores remain full because the people who are used to getting the free money to go buy food aren't going to be buying anything. Meanwhile, all of us who have jobs, who go out and earn a living, who work hard every day, we're buying our food. We're paying for that. And the surplus is going to increase. The demand is not going to be there because the people who are demanding the products don't have the money to go out and demand it. Wow, think about that. Wouldn't that be interesting? Is if within the month, the American economy has somehow completely remade itself into something like that. I think that's just incredible. I'm thankful and grateful there isn't any violence. I'm thankful and grateful that this country is in the place that it is, where we are moving in the right direction. And grant there's setbacks and things like that all the time, but to sit here and just be dour and be listening to a dirge time and time again, I'm not going to ever be like that. That's not me. That's not my style. Those of you who know me, not to say that I am an unrealistic optimist, but I am an optimist. And I think we're going to end up in a lot better place on the other side of all this than where we are right now. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We're going to take our last commercial break. We will be right back. Yeah, welcome back to the Andrew Gosser Show. It is the last segment for today, Tuesday, the 4th of November, 2025. It is Election Day. So many great comments. People saying that they went out and voted, that there were no lines. There's not a heavy turnout today. That means your vote is even more powerful because when those low turnout elections come in, sometimes all it takes is 1,000 votes to win. And I'm not going to get into this story today, but it's a great story of how having a get out the vote operation can really have an enormous impact on those elections. And honestly, that's what turned McHenry County, Illinois all around, was an off-year election. But I digress. There's a story that came up from Brother Kingfish and Jackson Jambalaya, and it's a good story. I love the good news, the positive news. I'm always trying to end on a high note if possible. And this is pretty cool. Elvies in Jackson. This is coming from Brother Kingfish. Although it didn't get the coveted Michelin star, Elvies restaurant garnered attention from the famed Michelin Guide. The Michelin Guide placed the Bellhaven restaurant and Sacred Ground Barbecue in Pocahontas. Man, I got to go out there and try that barbecue. On its 2025 list of Bib Gourmand restaurants. I don't know what a Bib Gourmand restaurant is, but they're going to tell us. The Michelin Guide considers such restaurants to provide great food at great value. The Sweet Bee and I will be going to Elvies sometime here in the near future. And I just think it's great. In Mississippi, we've got great food here. We all know that. But people from outside of Mississippi sometimes think that we don't know what we are doing down here. And that's great. You stay way far away from us, please and thank you. We don't need any of that. It was a great show today. Very grateful and thankful for Chris Hinkle who called in. I'm grateful and thankful to all the people who had texted. No one wanted to take me up on my free meal, though. I guess people realize that we're not going to get above 20% in the special election today, which is sad, which means the system will continue to turn over, continue to chug down the road. All gas, no brakes, no guardrails. Just out there continuing down the road. But that doesn't mean we won't be here at WYAB in the Andrew Gosser Show to document it all, to chronicle it all, to get us going in the right direction. And we will be back in about 22 hours, ladies and gentlemen. Take care, everybody. Be blessed.